On the morning of Sunday, November 2nd, 2025, 40-year-old Victor Fajemirokun called his girlfriend, 39-year-old Fumilayo Lasisi, with what many would consider to be an unusual request. He wanted her to meet him so that he could take her to see a native doctor he met on TikTok for what was described to them as a spiritual cleansing. Fumilayo, who worked as a Federal Road Safety Course officer in Ogun State, trusted Victor completely. He was a businessman based in Oshogbo, Osun State, and despite being married to another woman, he had been dating Fumilayo on the side. Fumilayo herself was also married with a young daughter, and numerous sources alleged that her husband lived abroad. What Fumilayo did not know was that Victor had already visited this native doctor before their planned meeting, and that during this earlier visit, the herbalist had made a very disturbing and dangerous revelation to Victor about his girlfriend, who happened to be Fumilayo. The native doctor had claimed that Fumilayo was the cause of the particular spiritual problem that Victor was seeking a solution to. But more disturbingly, the herbalist had told Victor that as long as Fumilayo was alive, he would never get the solution he wanted. However, this was just the tip of the iceberg, because something even worse was being planned behind the scenes. The native doctor himself had his own hidden agenda. He was not just helping Victor solve his spiritual problems, he was using Victor to get what he truly wanted. And the craziest part was that neither Victor nor Fumilayo had any idea about what was truly waiting for them at that shrine in Osun State. That Sunday morning, Fumilayo left her home at the Obasanjo Hilltop Estate in Abeokuta with her teenage daughter, Sewa Lasisi. She told her family she was going out and that she would return later. The mother and daughter walked out of their house together, completely unaware that they would never return home again. That Sunday morning became the very last time they were ever seen alive. Hours passed, then days. Fumilayo and Sewa did not come back. Phone calls to their numbers went unanswered. Text messages were never read. The family grew increasingly worried as their attempts to reach the missing pair proved completely unsuccessful. With no other options left, the family rushed to the police station to file a missing persons report. They provided all the information they could about Fumilayo's movements that day, including the fact that she had gone to meet her boyfriend, Victor. The police immediately swung into action. Using phone tracking technology and intelligence gathering, investigators began tracing Fumilayo's last known whereabouts. The trail led them from Ogun State all the way to Osun State, specifically to a shrine in Ijebu-Jesha. The shrine belonged to a popular TikTok native doctor named Boyega Daramola, who also went by the name Abere Ifa. When police officers stormed the herbalist compound, they found Daramola and also arrested him immediately. During questioning, the native doctor made a shocking confession. He admitted that Victor was indeed his client and that he had brought Fumilayo to him for what was supposed to be spiritual consultation and cleansing. He then went ahead to break the devastating news that both Fumilayo and her daughter had been killed. The news spread quickly through the community and also among law enforcement. A saving Federal Road Safety Course officer, a superintendent route commander responsible for overseeing multiple routes and coordinating strategic enforcement operations, had been murdered along with her innocent daughter. Victor Fajemirokun became a wanted man overnight. His photographs were circulated across social media platforms and also sent to police stations nationwide. A massive manhunt was launched, but Victor had already fled. Investigators soon discovered that he had escaped to Ghana, where he was hiding in his friend's house in Achemwenchi, a suburb of Akwecha. However, the long arm of the law reached across borders. Through collaboration with Interpol and the Ghana Police Service, Victor was tracked down and arrested at his hideout. The Eastern South Regional Police Command of the Ghana Police Service apprehended him and made arrangements to send him back to Nigeria to face justice. Meanwhile, back in Nigeria, police were arresting other suspects connected to the gruesome murder. One by one, they were picked up and brought in for questioning. Each confession revealed more horrifying details about what had happened to Fumilayo and her daughter. Victor's confession painted a disturbing picture. He explained that he had met Boyega Daramola on TikTok, the popular social media platform. After making contact online, Victor decided to visit the herbalist shrine in Osun State to seek spiritual help for his business problems. During that visit, Daramola told him something that would seal Fumilayo's fate. The herbalist claimed that Fumilayo had used spiritual manipulation to take Victor's glory and that this was why nothing in his life was working. The solution, according to Daramola, was to bring Fumilayo to the shrine. Victor, apparently believing everything the herbalist had told him, agreed to the plan. He lured Fumilayo under the pretense of spiritual consultation, telling her that they both needed cleansing and that this particular native doctor was very powerful and could help them. When Fumilayo arrived at the shrine with her daughter and Victor, the native doctor examined her and declared that she needed immediate spiritual intervention. He told her that certain rituals had to be performed in the bush for the cleansing to work properly. He then instructed two of his assistants to take Fumilayo and her daughter into the forest. Trusting that this was all part of the spiritual process, Fumilayo followed the men into the bush with her daughter by her side. Once they were deep in the forest, away from any help or witnesses, the men attacked. One of them brought out a knife and took Fumilayo's life. The men then proceeded to the next stage of their evil plan, which was their real motive for luring Fumilayo to the shrine in the first place. They began harvesting her vital organs such as head, breast, hands, and private parts. Her daughter, Sewa, witnessed this horror. Before suffering the same fate, she too was murdered and her body was mutilated. Her head, hands, and feet were removed. One of the arrested suspects, Sunday James, who worked as an assistant to Daramola, confessed that he was the one who carried out the actual killings. He stated that he met Fumilayo and her daughter at his boss's house on November 2nd. According to James, Daramola had told him that Victor had previously visited an Islamic cleric who revealed to him that his female friend had used his glory. James claimed that Daramola ordered him to kill the woman and her daughter and even threatened him when he hesitated. James led the police to the dam in Osun State where Fumilayo's mutilated body had been dumped. He also showed them the location in the bush where Sewa's body had been left. Both bodies, missing several vital parts, were recovered and then taken to the Uni Osun Teaching Hospital mortuary. Victor claimed during his interrogation that he only realized Fumilayo would be murdered when they arrived at the native doctor's place. He insisted that he had no idea her organs would be harvested for rituals. According to him, he felt as if he was hypnotized throughout the entire ordeal. He said he was so shaken by what happened that he immediately ran away, first to a mountain in Ikoyi, then to Ibadan, and finally across the border into Ghana, where he hoped to escape justice. However, Victor's story did not align with other evidence. He had told his wife in Oshogbo that he was going to Ikoyi for prayers that day, but he never mentioned Fumilayo. He had also met the native doctor beforehand and knew exactly what was being planned. Daramola, the native doctor who allegedly ordered the killings, tried to shift the blame entirely onto Victor. He told police that it was Victor who instructed them to eliminate Fumilayo, though he denied being present when the murders were committed. However, his assistant's confession contradicted this claim. The investigation also revealed that there were other suspects still at large. Two men named Kehinde and Idowu were identified as the ones who actually butchered the bodies and removed the organs, but they had not been captured yet. The police commissioner assured the public that all perpetrators would be charged in court after the conclusion of the investigation. He stated that efforts were ongoing to arrest the remaining suspects who were still on the run. As for Victor, his attempt to flee to another country only delayed the inevitable after his arrest in Ghana and repatriation to Nigeria. He was paraded alongside Boyega Daramola and Sunday James at the Osun State Police Command headquarters in Oshogbo. There, in front of cameras and journalists, he tried to explain his actions, claiming spiritual manipulation and hypnosis. But no explanation could justify the horror inflicted upon Fumilayo and her daughter. A respected federal officer and her innocent daughter had been lured to their deaths by someone they trusted. Their bodies had been desecrated for rituals that promised wealth and success, but only brought death and destruction. The case remains under active investigation as the police continue their search for the remaining suspects and to also gather more evidence. The families of Fumilayo and Sewa Lasisi wait for justice. When new developments emerge in this case, the public will be notified. What are your thoughts on this tragic case? Share your views in the comments below, and remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more true crime stories. Thank you for watching and stay safe.